Welcome back. This is the transfer show for one final hour of this window, and only 3 hours left until it all slams shut. Kaveh and Dharmesh are still with us, as always, and as you can see, we've got a very special guest with us. Darragh MacAnthony, a chairman and owner of Peterborough Football Club, has joined us for the whole hour. Great to see you, Darragh, as well. We'll speak to you in just a second. Plenty going on, as we mentioned. Despite talks in Paris, today, Kylian Mbappe's deal from PSG to Real Madrid is off. But what does it mean for next summer? What about Chelsea? Well, they've agreed a deal for Spain midfielder Solhekol, and they're confident of getting the deal done before this 11 p.m. deadline. Elsewhere, Arsenal have agreed a deal to sign Tahiro Tomiyasu. Emerson Royal has completed his move to Tottenham, and Dan James is a Leeds United player. Now, into the last 3 hours then, guys, and it's been a frantic day, as always. Darragh, first of all, great to see you. Thanks so much for coming in. How's your day been as an owner and a chairman of a club?
Yeah, it's been eventful. A lot of us know what's going on all the way up to the end of the day. You know what you're working on in the days leading up to it. So we obviously signed the young lad from West Ham. That's been in the works for 6 weeks. And it was always a case of, to be fair to West Ham, they were brilliant with us. David Moyes was great. They made it clear he would go to us, but only when they signed players. Unfortunately, that took a bit longer. So our season started, and then he's on the bench in the Premier League as a sub. And you're thinking, please don't get on. Because if he comes on, scores a wonder goal or does something, and it sounds bad. But kid's a wonderful talent. So we're very happy to have him. He completes our central midfield quartet that we have. And then we were after a little bit of insurance for one of our strikers, and I tried all day. And I busted my you-know-what to try and get a deal done, and it just became impossible in the end. The club I was dealing with, they're not big fans of me, hard to imagine. And, the price was probably inflated 50% because it was us calling.
Right.
Player was devastated, couldn't get it done in the end. We had, medicals pre-organised, everything else. So we were okay with that. It was always an extra little bonus if it were to happen. And then yeah, I tried all the way up to an hour before coming here. We'd gone backwards and forwards. In the end, it just became, it wasn't worth it financially. We were already into 7 figures, and then it became daft. And for insurance, it was just daft. And then I just pulled the plug. At one point, I was going to go, I'm going to do this. And I was like, no, this is getting silly now. So sometimes you got to walk away. It's actually better to do that than making a mistake and getting too crazy.
It sounds fun. It sounds really fun.
Yeah, I mean, there was about 8 calls, and at one point Barry called me a C word, and I called him the same, and that went backwards and forwards. We were at one point having jokes, which is great, to help the part of our relationship. And then late before I came here, I think we've done a deal for Ethan Hamilton to leave. He's gone to a club permanently, as long as he passes his medical, obviously. So it's been going on like that all day. You tell all your players to be available, particularly the ones you know who could be on the move. Obviously, we had the Dembele saga where people were like, well, our club's in for him. And then there was rumours, there was an agent putting it out there, he was available for 2 million. And I was laughing because I'd still get that in January, even with 5 months left on his contract. So the idea we were ever going to do that is insane, because he's such an important player. So I'd put a figure out 2 weeks ago to his agents in France and to the clubs who liked him, the figure. And if the figure didn't get met, we were like, he's staying. And my partners were strong on that with me. But we feel we've had a good window, and we've big 2 weeks coming up now.
Okay, well, congrats on the window. You have had a good window indeed. And thanks for being with us tonight. But we can confirm you weren't in for Kylian Mbappe. That's who we're going to talk about first.
Yeah.
Kaveh, what's the very latest? That one's off now.
Yeah, that deal is totally off. Basically, what happened is, as we've been reporting, Real Madrid have made a big push to sign Kylian Mbappe in the last few days from PSG. He is out of contract next summer. The player himself wanted to move to Real Madrid. Now, Real Madrid put in a second offer of 170 million euros plus 10 million euros in add-ons, and they gave PSG a deadline of 5 p.m. yesterday to respond to that offer. Now, PSG did not respond to that offer, and Real Madrid at that point, we were told, were basically walking away. But I always had the feeling that there was a chance that Real Madrid would wake up this morning and give it another go. And that is exactly what they did today. They gave it another go. I'm not sure they actually made an official bid, another official bid for Kylian Mbappe today, but what I've been told is that Real Madrid let PSG know that they were willing to pay more than 220 million euros for Kylian Mbappe to take him today. That is what they told PSG. And basically what happened is that PSG stalled. They weren't negotiating properly with Real Madrid, and at about 6 o'clock this evening, UK time, Real Madrid walked away from the deal. I was told the deal is off. It is too late. There's not enough time to do it this evening. The player is in Strasbourg with the France squad as well. And I've been told that Kylian Mbappe told PSG yesterday, again, that he would not be signing a new contract with them. He would leave on a free transfer. And as far as Real Madrid are concerned, they will now wait until January to try and speak to him and get him to sign a pre-contract agreement, which means that he would move there for free next summer.
Darragh, I mean, this is an incredible story. What's more incredible, do you think? The fact that Paris Saint-Germain are willing to pay 220 million euros for a player today that they can get for free from January? Or is it more incredible that PSG are saying no to that fee when they could potentially lose the player, for nothing in January, and they'll go next summer?
Because everything's relative, and I was saying this earlier on. For the Qataris to say no to 200 million, it would be like me losing 10 grand at the casino one night. Yes, it might feel a bit painful, but that's the reality. That's what we're talking. And it sounds horrible because in a world we live in and everything else, it's an obscene amount of money. But for them, that's the relativity here involved. They'll keep him. If they win the Champions League, it's good for their brand. They've got the player for a year. He moves on for free. They go sign another player. This is monopoly money for these people. Lucky them. So as regards Real Madrid making the deal with a year to go, forget about the year to go. People get hung up on your player's only got 9 months left. I had that with Ivan Toney, who's got 9 months left. Yeah, but there's a price you have to pay to get him. Otherwise, he'll stay. So you want him or you don't want him. So that's irrelevant how long's left on the contract. That's why Real Madrid went all the way to 220 million in the end. God knows what it would be like if it had 3 years left on his contract. So that's the market we're in sometimes in the higher end of football. But I will say this to you, gentlemen. Outside the Premier League and all these big deals, there is a recession in football, in the Football League. And that's quite clear from this window.
Just from what Darragh said about the fact that it would be like losing £10,000 in a casino, that's the equivalent of PSG rejecting this bid. This sounds like this power play that we've been mentioning over the past couple of weeks, because once it's become clear that Mbappe has said, I'm not signing a new PSG contract, PSG PR machine kind of went into overdrive, didn't it? Because they want to put all of the onus on Kylian Mbappe. They need to keep the fans on side, in a manner of speaking, don't they? Because the fans want to see Kylian Mbappe in a PSG shirt long term. Yeah. And PSG will say, we want more than what we bought him for, number one. If we don't, we extend his contract. Yeah. And he's promised us, PSG fans, he will not leave for free. He has guaranteed us that. And that's the message that they wanted to put out. So are you kind of saying that that was more important to them than this 200 and, what was it? Can't even believe it. 220 million euros.
They don't care about the French league. They have a vision. They want to win the Champions League, correct? They brought Messi in there. Now they've got a front three as good as anyone. If they can't win the Champions League now, they're never going to win it. So for them, it was never about 220 million. And the other thing you're forgetting is who they're going to bring in instead of Mbappe. So it's great having two of them, but you need a third. So who's going to fulfill that role right now? Strikers, I keep saying this, and I've said this for 2 weeks, like prehistoric, dinosaurs. They're a rarity. They're scarce. They're impossible out there. Ask even in our league, the Championship, League One, League Two, the Premier League. You've seen it with Kane this summer. Give me a number 9 who's going to score 35 goals a year. Tell me the price of them. And then when you sell yours, who are you getting in? So all those things come into it, but they want to win the Champions League. So for me, it made sense for them to keep him for a year. And it's not about the money for them, in my opinion. Not with a year left. And they'll let him go.
And of course, now he's saying that he's not going to sign a new contract and he's going to leave. But things can change. Things can change in the next few months.
Yeah. What happens if they strike up a great partnership?
What happens if they win the Champions League next summer? Will he then change his mind and decide PSG is going to be the place to be? What if they say we're going to pay you even more?
It's Real Madrid. Real Madrid is still Real Madrid, no matter what's happening in the finances the last couple of COVID years.
13 European Cups.
It's Real Madrid. Everyone wants to play for Real Madrid or Barcelona, those top players. And with all due respect to PSG, they can have as much money as they want. It's not Real Madrid and it's not Barcelona. And he obviously made it very clear he wants to go there. The other thing you can say as well is, what if he does his ACL? What if he hurts himself? What if he gets a bad injury and he's out for a period of time? That's the other gamble you're making. But he's probably already a wealthy young man anyhow, 22. But look, he's going to gamble on himself. He'll see out his year. He'll sign for them in January and leave in the summer.
What do you make of the way the player himself has behaved? Because the other night, on Sunday night, he was the man of the match. He was incredible. He hasn't said anything in public.
Euros. He's never come out and said, I want to leave, I want to go, and I'm not going to come to training, or I'm going to stay away pre-season and extended break. And that's not a dig at Harry Kane, by the way, each to their own. So the boy's done it the right way, and I think he's sitting pretty. you know, he'll finish the season, they might win the treble in France, and then he can sail off into the sunset and sign for one of the top 3 clubs in the world.
Well, that takes us nicely on to another man we're going to talk about in this first part, and that is Harry Kane. And you talked about the importance of strikers who can score you a boatload of goals in a season. But fresh quotes tonight, and we all sat up and when these quotes reached us on the desk, and they're relatively explosive. Dharmesh, what's been said today?
Yeah, look, he did a couple of interviews with a couple of radio outlets earlier on today. He's with the England squad, of course, ahead of their World Cup qualifiers. Some of the things that he said that I've picked out, he said, look, I know what the situation was between me and the club, Tottenham, of course, and that's the way it will stay, number one. Another thing he said was he doesn't think that the saga has tarnished his reputation. And then, this was quite interesting, anyone involved in the football industry knows the ins and outs. I was quite calm with the situation, but when you're in it, your conscience is clear. I just wonder if he's referring there to this famous gentleman's agreement. And I know you were on the show a few weeks ago where you said you've had gentleman's agreements with people, but they are not worth the paper they're written on simply because they're not written on paper.
Correct.
It is just a gentleman's agreement. So I think Harry Kane might be intimating there that, look, I know what was said, and it could be one of those things where when his career's finished and he writes his book, we'll actually find out the real ins and outs, because while he's with Tottenham, if there was a gentleman's agreement that we believe that there was to be, that's what we were briefed, he's not saying it in black and white just now, but he's kind of intimating that there was.
So just to go over it again, because I know you've spoken about it before on the transfer show, but the gentleman's agreement, you spoke about Ivan Toney, you know, we've got a player who's scoring at goals and wants to move on to further their career. Where do you stand on that as an owner and a chairman?
Well, it depends. Obviously with Ivan, I spoke to both him and his dad, so it's not just with him. Now you're making a promise to someone's parents, so, and I take that strongly because I'm a dad, and I'd want someone, if they did it with my son or my daughter, it would be the same. So I'm one of those people, your word, you bond. So if you give someone your word and you say, and the words are, if we get the right offer for us and we think it's right for you, we won't stand in your way. Now, if I turn around and say, we'll let you go next summer without following up with, as long as the offer's right for us, that's a different scenario. Look, you heard Guardiola recently, the way he spoke about Daniel Levy in that interview. This is Daniel Levy. So he didn't want the player to leave, and it's his prerogative. Him and Joe Lewis own Spurs. And to be fair, who are you signing? And Spurs have started brilliantly. They're the clean sheets kings, right?
Yeah.
And now they've got a good manager and they're building the defence. They could be a force this season. And if Harry Kane has his head screwed on, and I think he will, and this won't tarnish his reputation. If he wins the Golden Boot this year, Spurs fans won't care. If he scores 10 goals for England, football fans won't care. So this is not about reputations. You don't lose your reputation because of a big transfer saga. Who knows what's been said? We'll find out in the autobiography in future. He might get sold next summer. But he ain't getting sold for 150 million at 29.
And as Darragh hit the nail on the head there, if the offer we want is good enough, and that offer was never forthcoming, was it, from City, Kaveh? What did you hear?
I think as far as Spurs are concerned, and as far as Spurs fans are concerned, they don't care about all this anymore. This is done. This is like old news. They've lived through it all summer. They don't even want to think about it or talk about it. They don't care what Harry Kane has said. They know that Harry Kane contractually has to speak to the media when he's on England duty.
Sounds like he's still upset, though,
Well,
those comments.
Well, I mean, you can listen to the interviews, you can read the quotes and make of it what you will. But if you're a Spurs fan, the bottom line is he's staying at Spurs. Daniel Levy said he wasn't leaving, and he hasn't left. Spurs at the top of the table. They've won 3 games. They've kept 3 clean sheets. Harry Kane as well, in some of those quotes, he went on to say that, as always, all he's focused on is winning trophies at Spurs. He said that is what he's focused on at the moment. And I made this point a couple of weeks ago, that if Spurs have a really, really good season and finish in the top 4 and they're in the Champions League, or they win a trophy, I could see Harry Kane signing a new Spurs contract. We've seen these kind of things end with the player actually staying and signing a new contract. So that is a possibility as well. But if you're a Spurs fan, honestly, I don't think you care about this anymore. You just want Harry Kane to stay at Spurs for as long as possible.
Okay, maybe the next contract might have a buyout clause or something like that. Gentlemen, great stuff, so much more to talk about, of course. And we are going to be focusing next on Chelsea as they look for their man Sal Niguez. Can they get him in before the window slams shut at 11 p.m? We'll find out all here on Sky Sports News.
We're all in to kick it out.
WeBuyAnyCar.com sponsors Sky Sports News.
Curiosity. Curiosity leads to discovery. Where will curiosity lead you? It led us to develop a refreshing and crisp super dry taste. Asahi Super Dry. Discovery is calling.
Get 10 KFC mini fillets for $4.99. Feel like a big deal.
Fast and furious. Build an authentic Dodge Charger RT at newsagents now for only 99p. Fanhome.com.
Comfiest things I have worn in my life. The Ultra Glide technology in between your legs.
Feels amazing. The glide between my legs. They don't wait up.
Made out of organic bamboo. 30-day guarantee. All the packaging, guys, is compostable. Get some now!
If you've got clothes you'll never wear, try selling them on Vinted to earn some extra cash. It's simple. Just snap and sell without fees to other Vinted members. Download the free Vinted app.
Whatever thing your kid is into, they could win a dream version of it with Robinson's Fruit Chew. Pick up a pack for their chance to win.
Erectile dysfunction. What does it mean? Why is it happening? High cholesterol, heart disease, diabetes, low testosterone. Our erectile dysfunction blood test will help you figure it out. The Erectile Dysfunction Blood Test. At home. Fast results. Order today at Newman.com.
La 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 la.
Ah, there goes Elle. She's on EE's full works plan made for iPhone. Wherever she goes, she'll never miss a beat with Apple Music. Never miss the action with Apple TV Plus. And never miss a move with Apple Arcade. Because it's all on the UK's best network. Get the full works plan on EE.
Real Cheese Production presents an amazing adventure in an extraordinary world based on a true cheesy story. Action-packed, full of emotion. Are you ready? Baby Bell, join the goodness.
Get down now!
What do we got?
We have murder, cybercrime, and extortion.
We got this.
That's the target. FBI!
The brand new series of FBI and FBI Most Wanted, back to back.
What do you say? Shall we go get him?
Thursdays from 9 on Sky Witness.
You ready? Yes. 911, what's your emergency?
Go, let's go! I'm ready to go back.
I think we're gonna have some fun together.
You bet we are.
Brand new 911 and 911 Lone Star, Monday from 9 on Sky Witness.
England began the summer in fine form.
England are the winners of the multi-format series against India.
Now a new test awaits. England take on New Zealand next in the first of 3 T20s, live on Sky Sports.
WeBuyAnyCar.com sponsors Sky Sports News.
Now, Right, guys, welcome back to the Transfer Show here with Kaveh, Dharmesh and Darragh MacAnthony is with us as well, and we're talking all things transfers as we motor towards the 11 p.m. end of this window, and what a window it has been. Kaveh, you got an update, have you, on Sal Niguez and Chelsea's search for their man?
Yeah, it looks like that deal is going to happen this evening. All parties in this deal are in agreement. So the player himself wants to come to Chelsea. He's agreed everything, and Chelsea have agreed a deal with Atletico Madrid. Everybody's working hard to make sure the deal is done by the deadline this evening, and Chelsea are going to be paying a £4 million loan fee, and they'll also have an option to buy the player permanently next summer for €35 million. I've been told the player is not going to be flying into London this evening. He's in Madrid at the moment, and the deal can be done there. He can have his medical there, all the paperwork can be done there, but he will be coming to London to play for Chelsea as long as everything is done by the deadline. And it looks like on paper a great deal for Chelsea because he's a fantastic player. He's kind of lost his way a little bit at Atletico Madrid. Maybe he's been there for a long time, but he's won lots of trophies there, had a lot of success. He's worked under Diego Simeone. And if you're a midfielder and you work for Diego Simeone, you know, you are giving 100% when the side are out of possession, when you're in possession, and I think that suits the kind of way that Chelsea play under Thomas Tuchel as well. I think in a way it could be similar to that deal for Kovacic, that Chelsea got him on loan from Real Madrid. You know, he had a sort of season to prove himself in the Premier League. Chelsea liked what they saw, so they took up the option to sign him permanently from Real Madrid.
Centre midfielders there, haven't they? Like top quality centre midfielders as well. I guess if you're competing in the Champions League, Premier League, and on all fronts, you need a big squad. Darragh, what's it like when you're trying to sign a player? It is deadline day. You're getting into the last few hours of the window, and you're not there yet. Do you start getting itchy feet? Do you think about walking away from a deal, or do you follow it all the way through to 11 p.m?
Yeah, it depends. I mean, obviously, like I said today, the boy we got from West Ham. So he's away on international duty, Republic of Ireland. So then you're waiting. He has to, after training, we were waiting for him to go sign the documents. Then they have to be sent across, and they needed international clearance wherever it was. And my football secretary Liz, who's brilliant at what she does, you know, she's texting me before coming. Goes, can I go home now, or is anything happening later on tonight? And I'm like, no, you've grafted, and she's not feeling great. So I'm like, you can go. There's nothing. I said, unless. I said, to keep the phone on and charged. So a lot of the time, like I said, you know what's happening because you know what you're moving for. Now, in saying that, something could come out of nowhere, out of left field, and you could get a phone call, and it could be an interesting phone call, and you go, that's something I could revisit, and that's doable. You know, I was saying this recently. We chased Norburn for 2 years from Shrewsbury, and it was always $1,750,000, and we could never quite do the deal. They didn't want to really sell him. He was a very important player. Did the player want to come? And again, he wasn't on our list this summer because we thought, well, we're not going a third time. And then out of the blue, we got a tip-off. Well, a deal can be done. The player would love to come. And it happened in 12 hours. Right. So sometimes things can happen really quickly in football. And again, today, like the amount of calls of your agents, phone calls, this player's available, that player's available, and the club will pay most of the wages. And
because fans sometimes think, it gets to 11 p.m. and their team haven't signed anyone. They think, why didn't you just tell us this morning that you weren't going to sign anybody? So I haven't sat here watching Sky Sports News all day. But of course, you said...
I did earlier. I warned our fans. I said, look, that's our business done for the day. Right. Again, unless that one I'd visited earlier.
But you said something could still come out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's too late in the day because I think that player's playing right now. So it's too late in the day unless we kidnap him during the game. So, But I mean, sometimes you could have international clearance. It could be a medical you're waiting on. It could be documentation. It could be a fax machine like we had in Spain a few years ago. Well, what amazes me is in America you have a thing called DocuSign, where you can do digital scanning and signing. And it's taken forever to get that into football because you want to see what a deal sheet actually looks like when you do it. And you ask my secretary, that can take longer than anything else, never mind the medical. So there's all of that going on behind the scenes. But it's a buzz for everyone involved in football.
Yeah, fascinating insight. Kaveh, before we move on from Chelsea, another name we've been talking about all window, Jules Koundé, the centre-back. Obviously, Kurt Zuma's gone to West Ham. Now, where's the replacement in the form of Koundé that they were looking for?
Well, look, I don't think this deal is going to be happening. What happened is that last Wednesday, Chelsea put in an offer to Sevilla of €50 million for him, and the player has got a release clause of about €80 million. Now, Sevilla went back and said, okay, you don't have to pay the €80 million, but it's got to be closer to €80 million. So I think they tried to find something in the middle, and they said to Chelsea, look, get back to us by Friday. And apparently, according to Sevilla and their sporting director Monchi, Chelsea did not get back to them on Friday. So it looks like Chelsea weren't willing to go over 50 million euros. I think Sevilla may have thought Chelsea have just made almost 30 million pounds from selling Kurt Zouma. We want to get our hands on some of that money. Obviously, Chelsea are a very, very wealthy club, but they are quite careful in the market at the moment. You know, they've got a valuation of the player. The valuation was 50 million euros. They weren't willing to go above that. So it looks like that is not happening, but he's a very, very good young player. A lot of people say he's the best young defender in Europe at the moment, and I'm sure a lot of other clubs are going to be trying to sign him in January and next summer as well.
Okay, I'm going to come to Darragh on that in a second, but you've got something on your phone.
We're talking about clubs like Sevilla and Atletico Madrid. Wait till you listen to this. This has come from our colleagues at Sky in Italy, and they're saying that Atletico Madrid are in talks to re-sign Barcelona forward Antoine Griezmann. Talks are ongoing, and the deal would be a season-long loan with an obligation to buy. We know Diego Simeone is keen to bring in a striker before the end of the window, but look, we're looking at 2.5 hours to get this deal done. Barcelona, we're told, are already looking for a potential replacement. One of those players that they are looking at is Sevilla's Luke de Jong. It's also worth noting here that João Felix will not be part of any deal to re-sign Antoine Griezmann. So, Atletico Madrid in talks to re-sign Barcelona forward Antoine Griezmann. This is the window that keeps on giving. And just when you thought...
You alluded to this, Kaveh, earlier, Griezmann, didn't you? Going back to Atletico Madrid, you mentioned it in the 5 o'clock show we had, and that you'd heard something earlier.
Yeah, look, I think the issue is that Saúl Ñíguez at Atletico Madrid is on, I think, about £200,000 a week. So for them to bring Antoine Griezmann in and to comply with La Liga's financial fair play rules, they needed to get somebody off their wage bill. And obviously that is why Saúl Ñíguez is going to Chelsea. That has freed up some room on their wage bill to be able to bring Antoine Griezmann back. Now, Antoine Griezmann leaving Barcelona from a football point of view is bad news for Barcelona, but from a financial point of view, it is fantastic news because he's on massive money at Barcelona. Yeah. We know Barcelona have got financial problems, so he is one player they needed to get off their wage bill, and it looks like that is going to happen. But as Dharmesh said, another one of the big names in world football moving in a transfer window where everybody thought it was going to be pretty quiet.
And all have been a bit. Dharmesh, did I hear you right? Did you say Luke de Jong might go to Barcelona?
Yeah.
As in Luke de Jong, who went on loan to Newcastle and didn't score a single goal.
I knew you were
There's Newcastle fans
that shows
staring
the state they're in. That shows you the state of Barcelona are in, all due respect.
That's incredible. That's more incredible than Messi and Ronaldo and the lot for me. That's actually unbelievable.
This one, someone's just texted me, actually. They're obviously watching.
Right.
And... they've just said that this is just from one person, nobody else. Okay. Griezmann is done, mate. And he goes on to say 99% De Jong will be up front with Braithwaite at Barcelona.
Wow.
Okay, so
it's hardly
the talks are obviously getting to an advanced stage, and they have to be. If they want to get this deal done, they've got 2.5 hours. But this has just come from one source to say that it's done, but that has to be confirmed with every single club involved.
Darragh, you go from Messi, Suarez and Neymar to Braithwaite and De Jong. I mean,
not even Messi could have made them two look good. I mean, he got out in the nick of time, didn't he, to be fair to him?
Wow, I mean, it is an incredible, and like you said, it underlines sort of potentially the financial difficulties that some of these Spanish clubs are in.
I'll tell you what it says. It says that even the biggest clubs in the world, you know, aren't safe from the pandemic or bad financial mismanagement. And if you said this 2 years ago, if we'd sat down 2 years ago and said Barcelona are going to lose Messi, this is going to be their front line, they're going to be €1 billion in debt, you'd have said you're off your trolley. So again, anyone can ruin a good football club. Mismanagement, and they're one of the biggest in the world. Shocking.
Interesting, really interesting. Right, well, like you say, it is another huge name we've talked about in this window. We've talked about Griezmann, now we've talked about Messi, Ronaldo. We are going to be talking about Ronaldo after this break, getting Darragh's thoughts on what was an incredible move as Ronaldo made his move back to Old Trafford.
We're all in to kick it out.
WeBuyAnyCar.com sponsors Sky Sports News.
was fun.
Alexa, play our dance playlist.
Your playlist, dance. Alexa, turn on the living room lights. Turning on lights.
Alexa, can you pause time?
Let's just enjoy the moment.
La 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 la.
Ah, there goes Elle. She's on EE's full works plan, made for iPhone. Wherever she goes, she'll never miss a beat with Apple Music. And never miss the action with Apple TV Plus. And never miss a move with Apple Arcade. Because it's all on the UK's best network. Get the full works plan on EE.
Whatever your reason for hosting a Macmillan coffee morning, it's a great one. For the mother of all catch-ups. Because bacon's your thing. For Stevie. Or to say you're incredible. Do whatever it takes to help people living with cancer. Macmillan Cancer Support. Sign up to Coffee Morning today.
The louder it sounds, the better it tastes. Pizza Express 5 Guys Wagamama. Brought to you by Deliveroo.
Real Cheese Production presents an amazing adventure in an extraordinary world, based on a true cheesy story. Action-packed, full of emotion. Are you ready? Baby Bell. Join the goodness.
Whatever thing your kid is into, they could win a dream version of it with Robinson's Fruit Chew. Pick up a pack for their chance to win.
Brand new blockbusters are here in Sky Store Premiere. And the best seat in the house is yours. Watch the latest cinema releases. I want my body back.
Come and get it.
From the comfort of your own home.
You're going to tell us everything you know.
Enjoy your front row ticket.
I'm ready if you are.
To the latest new movies. Hold on. Brand new blockbusters. Available now in Sky Store Premiere.
WeBuyAnyCar.com sponsors Sky Sports News.
2 hours, 26 minutes and 30 seconds to go. We're here on the Transfer Show for the final time of this transfer window. What an incredible window it's been. Ahead of the break, we were just talking about Antoine Griezmann potentially going back to Atletico Madrid. We'll see how that one cooks along as we head towards an 11 o'clock closure of this window. Oh, what? You're pointing at your phone. What you got?
Yeah, actually, I'll give this to Dharmesh because it's come in on my phone, but this is his story, so I'll let him do it.
Oh, that's very kind of you. Look at that.
Teamwork.
We're friends again. We're friends again.
Finally, that's amazing.
It's his story. He's been doing it all along.
Okay, yeah, this is one that we were expecting to happen. West Ham United have completed the signing of the Czech Republic international Alex Kral. He joins from Spartak Moscow. It's a loan with a view to making that loan a permanent, so it's a loan with an option. We know that his Czech Republic teammates are Thomas Souček and Vladimir Koufal, and the agency who did the Koufal deal to West Ham have also done this deal as well. Stephen Hunt, the former Reading wingers, heavily involved in the representative side of that deal that's taken Alex Kral from Spartak Moscow to West Ham United. So look at that, they've had quite a good window. They've left some of the deals very late. They had Alphonse Areola as a loan with an option from Paris Saint-Germain very early during the window. They were after a central defender. They got Kurt Zouma for nearly £30 million. They were after an attacking midfielder. They got Nikola Vlasic from CSKA Moscow for around £34 million. And now Alex Kral a midfielder, has joined from Spartak Moscow. Thank you, Kaveh.
And you know what? If he does half as well as the other two Czech players at West Ham, then they've signed another golden player, haven't they?
You've got to say, actually, since David Moyes has gone into West Ham,
recruitment,
he has taken total control. I mean, obviously, a lot of other people at West Ham are involved in the recruitment as well, but he has the final say. And just look at the players that he signed. Almost every single player he signed has worked out. Jared Bowen, Souček, Kufal, and he really wanted Vlasic this summer as well. He really wanted Zuma as well. He really wanted Kral as well. So almost every time West Ham sign a player now, you're almost looking forward to watching them because you think, wow, this guy could be as good as Thomas Souček has been. And David Moyes has always been someone who's really, really careful about the players he signs. He watches video. I mean, normally he likes going out and watching them himself, but obviously because of the pandemic, he hasn't been able to. But he really takes a lot of time and puts a lot of effort into it. And he has done an incredible job when it comes to recruitment as well as on the pitch.
On and off the pitch, absolutely right. Look, let's talk about Cristiano Ronaldo while we've got Darragh here, because I want to get his thoughts. Before I come to Darragh, what's the very latest, Dharmesh, you're hearing with regards to Ronaldo and his Old Trafford return? All signed, sealed, delivered today.
Absolutely. If you go back to Thursday, we all thought he might be going to Manchester City and doing the unthinkable as far as Manchester United fans were concerned.
Darragh knew the inside. He just didn't text
he knew he wasn't. It was just a big ruse, wasn't it? And then on Friday, it accelerated. He's going to Manchester United. They announced that they'd agreed a deal. Today, they've made it official. It is a done deal. Just to remind you of the figures involved, 15 million euros in 5 instalments as an initial payment for Cristiano Ronaldo, plus 8 million euros in add-ons. It's a 2-year contract, and Manchester United have the option of a further year. 2 little aspects of this deal that I can tell you about. I'm told that the Executive Vice Chairman, Ed Woodward, often quite criticised at Manchester United, had a big say in this deal. He was responsible for the structure of the deal and ensured that the owners sanctioned it. And then, of course, there was the emotional side of the deal when you heard about Sir Alex Ferguson's phone call to Cristiano Ronaldo last week. Cristiano joined Manchester United, reading between the lines. And I think Ronaldo has actually acknowledged that in an Instagram post that he did today. He talked about his never-ending love for Manchester United before right at the end saying, P.S. Sir Alex, this one is for you. I know how much you like that one, being a Liverpool fan, Darragh.
No, but yeah, I'm a Liverpool fan. I'm very envious of all the Chelsea deals, the Man United deals. As a Liverpool fan, I'm like, oh. But anyway, enough about Liverpool. But it just goes to show you how influential Sir Alex still is. And fair play.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of the greatest managers ever produced in the game, and he obviously was instrumental in helping us and making it happen. And
did you know something, Darragh? You were, when we were saying about, because we were all on here talking about Manchester City.
I would never be unprofessional and betray my manager like that. You know, when he called me the other day and said, "Listen, Ronaldo's gone back to United. Don't tell anyone." The point is, yeah, look, obviously Sir Alex played a part in it, but it's a no-brainer for Man United. And commercially, by the way, the money, even his wages, 20 million a year, was he 400 grand a week, whatever. You saw their share price go up 8-9%. If you bought options on that stuff as a director and owner, I'm not saying they did, you would have made a lot of money just in that one play. Yeah. So, and
the same thing happened at Juventus, didn't it?
Yeah,
exactly the same.
The commercial value as well to the club. Not to mention, at 36, he's got the body of a 29-year-old. I mean, my God, he looks like I looked at 18. So, I mean, he's going to do incredible things for the next 2 years, in my opinion. You know, it's a game changer.
And if you look at Darragh mentioned sorry, just very quickly, Kaveh, Darragh mentioned the commercial side of it all. And Manchester United have released a TikTok video. I think that's what you and your friends are using, Kaveh. And there it is. It's a Ronaldo shirt, but if you notice, it's only the name, no number as yet. So it's quite a tease because we all know the brand is CR7. Edinson Cavani currently holds the number 7 shirt at Manchester United. And you have to get special Premier League dispensation if you want to swap squad numbers once the season has started, unless in the next 2 hours, 20 minutes, Edinson Cavani leaves Manchester United, which we are not expecting to happen. But I'm told that United are looking into the possibility of getting this special dispensation. So it cannot be ruled out that on Saturday, September the 11th, the second coming of Cristiano Ronaldo could be Ronaldo 7.
We'll know before. We'll know before then whether he's got the number 7. How do you deal with that as an owner? You've got a player like Edinson Cavani, who's one of the best players in the world, already has the number 7 shirt, and Ronaldo's brand comes into town.
In the NFL, the players are allowed to buy each other's numbers off themselves. They actually do. They buy them for 100 grand, 150 grand. You know what I mean? Tom Brady, TB12, they come in. I think he bought Tampa Bay, one of the players, the number, gave him a new car or whatever.
So we need to throw a financial element
no, I
into
think
Cavani?
as an owner, I'd say to Cavani, look, you know, what can we do to make you happy about this? You know, because it's important to Cristiano. And the Premier League as well probably have to give dispensation because this is good for business. It's good for the Premier League. You know, you've now got one of the greatest players ever lived coming back to finish his career in the Premier League. So, again, that's part of it's a bit like Michael Jordan. Those numbers are iconic. So I hope he gets it, even as a Liverpool fan.
When you look at the numbers that United are paying, I think it's
nothing.
Instalments. So they're paying 5 instalments of £2.5 million a time.
But they've covered it with Dan James.
Is that something you would have been able to afford that, wouldn't you?
Well, listen, that's I wish, but that's the way we do all our business. But people don't understand this. Most transfer deals are done over time. I've been doing it for years. Even now, when I ring up people to buy a player and they go, "What do you mean you're paying it over 4 years?" I'm like, "That's how it's done in football when you buy players. We sell players for millions. You get it over 3-4 years. So that's no different if you're buying the big players." I was dealing with a big Scottish club during the summer to buy a player, and they didn't like the cheek. I'd made an offer spread over 3 years, and they said, "Well, we want all the money up front." And I said, you know, when you're buying players from Liverpool or other clubs for many millions, do you pay all that up front? Well, of course not. So what's the difference? That's just how the business works.
Relative, yeah.
It's money in the bank. But that was paid for.
Do you see Ronaldo being a success? You've already spoken about how physically fit he is. I mean, because someone said to me, "Oh, is it going to be similar to Bale going back to Spurs?"
No.
But you're saying it's a different thing altogether.
This night, I was fortunate to be on holiday next to this guy about 5 years ago in the Bahamas. And my nanny came running into the villa every morning at 7:30. She saw him on the beach doing his ab crunches and running 5 miles up and down. Thank God it wasn't my wife saying that. But anyway, but the point was, this man is his craft. This is what he does. He'll play till he's 40. And the condition he's in, he's a credit to our industry. And every young player should look at that man and the way he lives. And he's so professional. And they could all raise their level to that. He'll be fantastic for the Premier League.
Yeah, and Dharmesh, of course, Darragh just touched on there. Dan James, the deal that's taken him to Leeds United, it's paid Ronaldo's transfer fee. Obviously, it's not going to cover the wages, but any surprise there that it was Dan James? There was some talk it could be Jesse Lingard going to West Ham, of course.
Yeah, I mean, the Jesse Lingard one, we thought West Ham would make a formal offer for him during this transfer window. Didn't really materialise, and Manchester United are quite happy for Jesse Lingard to stay and fight for his place. And it hasn't been ruled out that contract extension could be on the cards for Jesse Lingard just to maintain his value because he's entering the final year of his deal. Daniel James, as recently as a week ago, we were told that, you know, he's in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plans. But with the arrival of Sancho, with the arrival of Ronaldo, his first team opportunities were going to be limited. And so Leeds United have finally got their man at £25 million. This is 2.5 years after Daniel James had posed with the Leeds United shirt, thought he'd sign for them on deadline day, way back in February 2019, only for that deal to fall through. But now, of course, he has signed for Leeds United. And just going back to this shirt issue, Daniel James was number 21 at Manchester United. So that shirt is now free. Guess what number Edinson Cavani wears for Uruguay? It's all coming together.
James, he's a Bielsa signing, though. I think he's perfect for Leeds.
Yeah,
I think Bielsa will get the best out of him. Yeah. He'll have a phenomenal time at Leeds, in my opinion. Yeah. I think he's made for the way Leeds play and that intensity and his pace. Terrific signing.
Yeah, they've got some good wingers there as well, haven't they?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Interesting, we were talking about Sir Alex Ferguson, the influence that he had on Ronaldo moving to Old Trafford, and one of the other players that had a big impact on that was Bruno Fernandes, who tweeted afterwards the picture saying, Agent Bruno. Just one of the other players we've just been talking about, Alex Kral, and his move to West Ham as the third Czech player. Well, apparently Thomas Souček has gone on and tweeted Agent Souček. So this is the new thing. So, but I think with Ronaldo, it wasn't, obviously Sir Alex is the one that's been mentioned by Cristiano himself, but I think every Manchester United legend and former player and current player was straight onto Cristiano, weren't they? We saw Rio Ferdinand had got involved. We saw everyone was messaging Ronaldo, and I guess it must have had an impact. I mean, his phone's lighting up like a Christmas tree. All his old teammates and pals saying, "You've got to come back to Manchester United. Don't go to Manchester City." It would affect any of us, wouldn't it?
That Newcastle game is going to be the most watched game in years. Is it on Sky or dare I ask the question?
It's a Saturday 3 o'clock.
Oh,
of course.
oh dearie me.
3 o'clock.
Wow, that's going to be like, popular.
I'll be watching it like that, to be fair. But
I'll be watching from the States.
Oh, you're right. Oh, yeah, I was waiting how long until you'd get that in, that you're going back on. Great stuff. Darragh, Dharmesh, Kaveh, great stuff for now. We're going to take a very quick break now. Plenty more to get through as well in the next part as we motor towards the 11 p.m. deadline. Deals happening all the time. We'll have plenty more after the break.
We're all in. We're all in to kick it out. WeBuyAnyCar.com sponsors Sky Sports News.
That was fun.
Alexa, play our dance playlist.
Your playlist, dance. Alexa, turn on the living room lights.
Turning on lights.
Alexa, can you pause time?
Let's just enjoy the moment.
Ambition. It wants to change your world. It's inspired so many to become so much more and will push you to be at your best. Feed it and make when you work for you and show life that you want to move things forward. Ready? Set your ambition free with the Open University.
Get 10 KFC mini fillets for $4.99. Feel like a big deal.
New Lynx. Smell iconic with 72-hour anti-sweat.
Go with us and get thousands of flexible booking options all in one app. Expedia. It matters who you travel with. At all protected.
Packer, Go-Go, Pencil, Pronger, Pintle, Piston, Dizzle, Wiener, Wanger, Wilfred, Weenie, William, Winkle, Whizzle, Dodger, Member, Johnson, Peter, Sausage, Blackbush, Shizzle, Dog, 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 Dog. Call it what you want, but when it stops working, make the right call. Do something about erectile dysfunction. Clinically proven, discreetly delivered. Order today at Newman.com.
Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things will get brighter.
With up to 6 months free Apple Music, free roaming to 75 countries, and with an extra for up to 12 months.
Someday, when your head is much lighter.
O2 are making every day a little brighter. Here come Plus plans.
Welcome to Landmark. 18 artists from around the UK compete to create something big. Bring it on!
This might be the last opportunity I ever get.
I can't believe it's come together. As expert judges,
Completely different artists, completely different approaches.
It's going to be tight.
and celebrity guests,
Everybody's entitled to the experience of art.
search the country for Britain's next great Landmark. Starts Monday at 8 on Sky Arts.
What in the Matrix?
What's up, Doc? Win this game and get our son back.
Space Jam: A New Legacy, available now in Sky Store Premiere.
WeBuyAnyCar.com sponsors Sky Sports News.
Welcome back to the Transfer Show for the final part this window on this deadline day as well, gents. It's been an emotional ride. It's been an incredible window. We're going to be reflecting on that in just a second. I want to talk about Liverpool. We did touch on them with Darragh just a few moments ago. A relatively quiet window for them. Ibrahim Konate has come through the door. But that's been about it. But they have worked to sort of extend the contracts of some of the players they have. Before I come to Darragh, there's a couple of signs today, lads, as well, and including the captain Jordan Henderson. It seems to be the sort of the game plan for this window was to make sure they kept a hold of their top talent.
Yeah, exactly. They've given new contracts to all their key players one by one. It's almost been like sort of drip feeding the good news all through the summer. And bear in mind that for most of last season, they were without Virgil van Dijk and without Joe Gomez. So both those players are back as well. And I know it's a cliche, but might almost be like having two new signings for them. And Ibrahima Konate, he's a player that a lot of other clubs wanted as well. Liverpool managed to get in there really, really early to do their business. So I think they will be happy with the summer they've had. I know if you're a Liverpool supporter like Darragh, you'll be a bit frustrated because other clubs have been sort of, dominating the headlines and doing big deals. But a lot of people would still say that Liverpool are one of the favourites to win the title. If you look at it, who are the favourites to win the title?
Shaking his head.
Who is it? Manchester City?
Two for me.
United,
Two for me. No.
Liverpool?
No, City, Chelsea by a mile. They're the two teams. Look, big Liverpool fan, have been most of my life. Jurgen Klopp's a genius for what he's done. And even over the last few years, fair play to him. You look at the surplus spend, they've made a profit of about 4 million over the last 3 years. And they've won a title. They've ran City close. They'll probably still be thereabouts March or April. But God forbid, if one or two of the front 3, 4 players they have get injured, that's it. It's curtains. We needed a goalkeeper's goal last year to get us into the Champions League. We lose Salah January, and he gets injured while away, and we lose him in February. Who's going in there? Who's scoring the goals? Origi? And that's the question we all have. And you look at it and go, how much would Fenway, who owned Liverpool, lose if that goalie hadn't scored and put them in the Champions League? 50, 60, 70 million? Would some of those players have signed the contract extensions? Would some of the players have signed for them if they weren't in the Champions League? So do you take the gamble again? We now have what? Firmino's injured. We don't know how long for. Leaves us with 3 strikers that you pick in your team. 2 of them are off to the African Nations Cup in January. So that's a concern as a Liverpool fan, yeah. But knowing Jurgen Klopp, he'll probably still run City and Chelsea close to the title because he is just world-class manager. And it's credit to him.
It's interesting hearing you talk, it's sort of in your capacity as a fan, actually, because you're saying what a lot of fans watching at home will think. They think, well, why don't you spend a bit more money? And, teams down the bottom of the Premier League as well. They'll be thinking, why don't you invest a bit of money and not lose all that money by being relegated? And it is something that frustrates supporters. But on paper, like Kaveh says, it could look like a really strong squad, but a couple of injuries you think is too thin. Who do you like? Where do you like to see them strengthen?
You said it's a strong squad. It's a brilliant 11, 14, 15 players. And as we saw last year with a few injuries, suddenly you go top, and then you have a crisis. And then because of Klopp and getting everyone back together, and the younger defenders coming in and getting them there, and Alisson scoring the goal, you're just a couple of injuries away from... Manchester City can play without strikers and score loads of goals. And I'm a massive Liverpool fan. I just worry about them. And I just sometimes wish Fenway turned around and said, look, we're going to give you that one extra player. They need one more player, attacking player, in my opinion. And who am I to criticise the way they run their club? They do everything away from the pitch fantastically well with the stadium. Klopp does everything well with the team. I think he knows what he's doing more than I do. But I just worry about that 1 or 2 injuries in those key area, attacking-wise. Everywhere else, fine. Just in that area, and we're out of it. And then it's Chelsea and the Man City show.
Interesting.
My opinion.
What have we got left there? 2 hours, 7 minutes and 17 seconds, guys. We've spoken a lot of big names this hour. Antoine Griezmann's come out of nowhere. Guys, what are we looking at? The last couple of hours to go. What are going to be the big stories that we're covering now?
I think Antoine Griezmann will be the biggest story if that happens. For him to go back to Atletico Madrid from Barcelona is, he's one of the best players in the world. You'd put him in the top 5, top 10 best players in the world. Great move as far as Atletico Madrid are concerned to get him back. It looks like they're taking advantage of Barcelona's financial problems. It's been a really, really difficult summer if you're a Barcelona supporter, but I suppose the only silver lining is that you've got a president in there now who's trying to sort it all out. He's gone through all the books and all the accounts, and he's come out and he's, blamed the previous administration. We've seen that happen a lot before. But he's basically saying, look, it's much worse situation than I thought it was, but trust me, I'm going to sort this out and the glory days will come back. And judging by his actions, that is exactly what he's doing, because it's a big decision to let Lionel Messi go. It's a big decision to let Griezmann go. It's just, it's going to take a while. It's going to take a while.
Dharmesh, which one are you thinking the last couple of hours?
The Griezmann one. Yeah. I mean, I wonder what Kaveh touched on it. I wonder what Barcelona fans are thinking right now. About 3 or 4 weeks ago, they're probably looking ahead to the season thinking, right, we've got the new president in. Messi's committed to the club. Messi and Griezmann, we could still challenge, and now it could be De Jong and Braithwaite.
And if you're a Barcelona fan, you are watching. I just don't watch any videos of his loan spell at Newcastle.
De Jong and Braithwaite, but they've got Memphis Depay as well.
I want Darragh to have the final word here with us here on the transfer show. Darragh, have you seen some absolutely sensational moves in this window? What's the one that's shocked you the most? What do you think is the best transfer of the window? You've got literally a couple of seconds.
Ronaldo, because again, he's stolen Messi's thunder. You thought Messi was the big move of the summer. Along comes Cristiano and goes bang, and he's back in the Premier League. And that's a bigger story for me than Messi going to France to retire.
The fact we're talking about both of them is incredible.
Brilliant.
Darragh, absolute star. Dharmesh, Kaveh, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. And next up, we are going to have Vicky Gumasol and Julian Warren. They will take you safely through to the end of the window at 11 p.m.